Welcome back to a little bit of cheese, your bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast. I'm your host, Cody Depius. That is Sam Douglas on another beautiful Friday here in March in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And baseball is back, baby. Maybe not the result that the Brewers wanted yesterday. They lose in New York to the Yanks 4-2. It was just good, I think, to turn on the TV, catch a little bit of Brewers baseball. The big storylines for this, I think Freddie Peralta gave up 2 Little League home runs. One of those would only have been gone in Yankee Stadium, and then the other home run was on a high inside fastball that Volpe popped up, and I thought it was going to go to second base, but it ended up clearing the right field wall, and that one apparently would have been gone in 9 Major League ballparks. So, if the Milwaukee Brewers are playing the New York Yankees in over 67% of the ballparks in all of Major League Baseball, they would have won yesterday's ball game. But they played in Yankee Stadium. That's not the case. We did get to see Devin Williams hop on the mound for the Yankees, get really close to blowing it, brought back some old fond memories of Brewers Devin Williams. I was kind of getting that itch when he stepped on the mound. I was like, they're going to load the bases, and he's going to find a way to get out of it. And that's exactly what happened. The Brewers did scratch a run across in the 9th, but final score 4-2. Vinny Capra hit his first home run. I want to give a shout-out to Lane Grindle of the Brewers radio broadcast with his ode to Bob Uecker, the good old get up, get out of here, gone. And you could hear him kind of with his voice trying to emulate the Uke as much as he possibly could. I thought he did an incredible job. But and then the other one, the other storyline, Jackson Chourio with a platinum sombrero, 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts. And I'll actually start off the show here with my first cheese grater question, going a little bit out of order. But, Sam, how many players in all of Major League Baseball history have gone 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts over 9 innings on opening day? I'll give you a guess. I can count it on one hand.
Is it 3?
It is 2.
2. All right. What kind of company are we dealing with?
Max Muncy in 2023 with the Dodgers. 0 for 5 Ks, the platinum sombrero. So, fun day for opening day yesterday for the Brewers. Sam, you got any wild takes on it?
It's good. It's good to have baseball back. Brewers losing opening day isn't the same as, Packers losing week 1. We got 162 of these bad boys to cruise through this summer. It's just good to have baseball back. It's good to see the guys out on the field. We're going to have some closed roof snowy days still to come, probably in March, but we're happy to have baseball back. Man, I texted you when it started. I was listening on the radio yesterday. I was driving across the state to pick up some speakers, and it was sobering for the game to start and not have Uke on the call. And he's taken time off. I've listened to a lot of games when he wasn't on the call. Just hearing the game start and realizing that we're going into this season without Bob Uecker, and then for us to be able to get that call, man, it's awesome. And I'm glad we got the patch. I'm glad we're doing all the Uecker shout outs. So it's just good to have baseball back. I got to give a shout out to Rhys Hoskins. Honestly, I think he played a decent game. He took a couple walks, and I think the whole Brewers team can look at that. It looked like everybody had a little bit of the jitters, which I'm fine with. Chourio going down 5 strikeouts, first pitch of the day, first pitch of the season, he's swinging. That's great. I'm totally fine with that. If he's going down 5 strikeouts on the first day of ball and he's going down swinging, that's the Chourio I want leading off the lineup. So I think Rhys provided a little bit of that veteran leadership, saying, hey, guys, let's just get on base. I'm the 4 guy. Realistically, I should be swinging at some of these pitches. Let's get on base, work the system a little bit, not just a run in the 9th when we started playing a little bit of smart ball. Devin Williams pitched 36 pitches in the 9th. If you're working closers like that, you're going to find some success. But I think starting pitching is really going to be our heel. We've seen this Brewers team being able to manufacture 1, 2, 3 runs every single game. We got speed. We're able to get on base. We play smart Murphy ball. I would have loved to see Hudson stay in the next inning. Do you think that if it wasn't opening day and we just wanted to get some arms loose, that we keep Hudson in an extra inning?
I think if Hudson wasn't coming off of arm fatigue last year, and that being the reason he missed the last couple of months, I think you would have seen him pitch another inning. But I know they're really trying to ease him in. his velocity is probably 4 miles per hour less than what he was going through that fatigue last year. Like they kind of shot his arm as much as they threw him, and he pitched incredible from start to finish last year. But it kind of knocked that velocity down, and I think they're going to use him a lot more sparingly. I mean, I wouldn't put anything on. I mean, Jared Koenig was the one guy who had the bad line there in the bullpen, and Koenig's a guy that you're going to have to trust, especially with the season that he had last year. He was nails at the end of last season, and that's a guy that you want to throw out there in a situation like that. So I'm not going to indict Pat Murphy anyway. The only questionable thing I think was taking Garrett Mitchell out yesterday. I would have liked to see him get more than 2 at bats. Garrett Mitchell is one of the X factors on this team. You need to watch him and see what he can do over the course of a full season. And taking him out to see a switch hitting Isaac Collins, I'd be okay, especially if you're starting Mitchell against the lefty. Keep him in there. Like, keep him in there against the righty that you have coming up later, too. Like, I don't know. I don't understand it. I think that might have been Murphy, like, hey, we got our young guys. This is his first opening day. Let's get him out there. But that's, I don't know. It's an opinion one. Who knows if we win that game regardless, but that
was a hitting
questionable.
That was a hitting adjustment too. It's like it was a big at bat and they brought him in as a pinch hitter. That really confused me.
Yeah, and then he got hosed by the first 2 strike calls that were an inch off the plate. Like, Collins did his job. I was really ticked off for him. And I remember, it was the 2, I think they were sinkers on the lower outside corner, and they were about an inch off the plate, an inch down. He got the first 2 strike calls, and then the 0-2 pitch was in the exact same spot, and Booney, of course, started whining from the dugout, like, hey, just called those last 2, which they did, but not any of those 3 were a strike. But regardless, just going back in my memory, I want to see more Garrett Mitchell. I thought Freddie Peralta settled in really nice. You could hear him both on the TV and the radio broadcast really yelling after every pitch. You just hear, yo, after every fastball. It was awesome. But it was a very, very good Freddie day. 8 strikeouts over 5 innings. That's the length that you expect from Freddie Peralta. Yeah, I'd love to see a guy go 7 innings. That's not the luxury that you get with a Freddie Peralta. You're going to get 5 innings of that guy out there screaming, throwing some hard curve balls, and touching 97 in the upstairs with that fastball. And that's exactly what you got. You only gave up the 4 hits, 2 of those being Little League home runs, and then the 1 walk. And that was it, the 2 earned runs on the day. So really good Freddie start. Everybody else pitched well. You got to see a little bit of Tyler Alexander come in. We might get to see him coming up there in the 4th game of the season is the assumption here for Milwaukee, as they are kind of missing that number 4 and number 5 guy in the rotation. As I'm not sure if we lost Sam here. I lost Sam's picture, but maybe he comes back in just a bit. But as we said before, the really cool moment, the ode to Bob Uecker with Vinny Capra's first Major League home run on his first ever opening day on a Major League roster. He saw a fastball, swung at the fastball, and drove that sucker out of there to deep left field. And then Lane Grindle on the call. With the Jackson Chourio thing, I'm reading articles that are already coming out this morning from Brewers writers, I believe on Review the Brew. There was an article explaining that there might be a silver lining to an 0 for 5 strikeout performance from, as it seems like we may have lost Sam here. We'll see what happens if he can send a little text. But the silver lining with Jackson Chourio, I believe, could be, and what the article was explaining was that this might be something where he sits down and he understands where he needs to take this from here on out, where he can learn to focus a little bit, because I can tell you the pitches that he was swinging at yesterday, the eye that it seemed like he had at the plate, that was not the regular Jackson Chourio that we are used to seeing, and he's going to have to go back and look in the mirror and understand what he can fix from there. As Sam said, he will be back on in 1 minute. We'll see if we can get him back up here on the Zoom. But I think there's definitely a positive that can be as more of a wake-up call for Jackson Chourio. I'm not too worried about this. I mean, what you saw that kid do from June 1st on last year was stuff that I have not seen since what Christian Yelich was able to do in 2018, 2019. Stuff that Ryan Braun used to do in the early 2010s. Like that, what he did was all-star MVP caliber stuff, and this was just one game. It was a little bit surprising, especially with the fact that he was hitting almost 500 in spring training. So you knew he was really locked in. Maybe a little bit of overconfidence when he stepped up to the plate. And there is that fine line that you need to ride. Yeah, he was going up there, first pitch, swinging on opening day against Nestor Cortez. And I will say Nestor Cortez was on yesterday. That was the guy that the Yankees need to step up in this rotation, especially with Garrett Cole and Luis Gil out for the season. Well, Garrett Cole is, and then Heel will be out for a couple of months. But they're going to need Nestor Cortez, and yesterday he kind of stepped up in that ace role, pitched a really solid game for them, and kind of made Jackson Chourio look a little bit silly. But I wouldn't expect for any of this to continue. I think Chourio is going to be right back. He's going to be swinging. He's going to be swinging hard, and he's going to be making contact. The kid hit too well in spring to be able to just continue an 0 for 5 strikeout kind of player. That's not what he is. That's not what he's going to be, as Sam is now joining the podcast once again. He's out on the patio. I understood it right when I heard the birds stop chirping. It's a nice little addition you have there from your patio. But
were we talking a little Jackson Chourio out here?
Yes. I wanted to ask if there's any worry of Chourio's 0 for 5 strikeout game on opening day.
So they talked about this a little bit with Cody Bellinger during the broadcast, and I thought it was actually really relevant with Jackson Chourio. Bellinger started his career really, really hot, and then he has had a lot of down offensive seasons since then. He has some very blatant cold zones when he's swinging. Pitchers know how to pitch him, and I think Chourio is going to see a lot of that. Now there's going to be film study. We see this with CJ Stroud. We see this with second-year players across all sports. You start to know how to play the guy. You know, now there's a year of footage on Chourio. These pitchers know what he likes to hit, knows what he doesn't like to hit, and it's going to be on him to combat that. So maybe he isn't a worse player by any means, but he's going to have to learn to grow now that the pitchers are watching him and they understand, hey, this is a guy that, I mean, we saw at the end of the last season, they intentionally walked him. They don't want to be facing this guy. This is someone that you study, that you research, that you know what he likes, what he doesn't like, and it's gamesmanship. And I think Chourio is going to be seeing a lot of that this year. So it is going to be on him. His job got a whole lot more difficult this year. And I think there's going to be a little bit of growing pains. Am I worried about him? No. I think he's different. I think he's a one-of-one athlete. I think he's going to figure it out. I think he's going to have some growing pains when he sees some of these aces.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think when Sam was gone and I was explaining the good start from the Yankees starter, I might have said Nestor Cortez. He's actually on the Milwaukee Brewers now. That was a little bit of a Freudian slip. Carlos Rodon pitched a heck of a game yesterday. That fastball was touching 97. That slider was disgusting, and it made Chourio look a little bit silly. I think there were some nerves there for Chourio hitting leadoff for his second consecutive opening day. Not really worried. We'll see how he adjusts. He adjusted over the course of last season. You saw the first 2 months be really tough on him, and then he was one of the best hitters in baseball for the last couple months of the season. So I expect for Chourio to bounce back, and I expect him to bounce back quickly. That kid's got quick wrists. He's got a swing that I really haven't seen in quite some time, and I expect even for him to bounce back maybe in the next game. Like, I think we're at the point now, if you see him struggle for a game, the next one would be the one where you go and put a bet down. Chourio is going to hit 2 hits. Like, I'll say that now. But I will also mention, I'm blaming my buddy Tyler on texting me at Jackson. He said, morning of opening day, Chourio's going deep today. He's going to draw a walk or get a single in his first at-bat. So when he kind of coincidentally went 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts, I did text him back and say, please never predict anything about any sports teams that I remotely care about. Thank you, Tyler. Moving on, some bad news coming out of Milwaukee this week. Damian Lillard out indefinitely. Deep vein thrombosis. This stinks. Are the Bucks even worth watching at this point for the rest of the season? Sam thinks?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. We have Giannis Antetokounmpo on the team. This is a guy who is one of the best players of all time. We've seen carry jobs happen in the past. Is this roster stacked up like the Celtics? Absolutely not. There's one ball on the court at a time, and we've got a 7-foot Greek guy who can cover the court in one dribble. I'm not counting. We're not going to win the championship. I don't think. LeBron in his third year carried a really crappy Cavs team to the championship. We've seen these carry jobs happen before, and so for the entire Bucks fandom to just be out on this year is kind of frankly shocking to me. Have we not seen what Giannis has done for this team in the past? He has elevated everybody around him. He has elevated the team. This is a one-man show like no other. And at this point, he's seen it all. When he got a little bit injured earlier to start this year, we saw him take on that facilitator role where he's not necessarily Jokic where all the offense runs through him, but he can post up and make a soft pass, find a cutter. He can play this facilitating role. He can also play the bulldozer role. I think Giannis is in his prime, and to count the Bucks out right now, I'm telling you, it's silly. We're going to be facing New York Knicks in the first round. We're the 6th seed. It's going to be a Madison Square Garden, dude. Counting the Bucks out is. Are we deep? Are we prepared? No. Is Giannis like that? And am I going to die on the hill saying Giannis gives us a chance against anybody? Absolutely.
Yeah, the single carry jobs they can happen. It's just it's really hard for me to see. I don't know. I'll be honest when it comes down to it. I mean, when LeBron was able to do it, I feel like that East was not there. There was not that superpower in the East that LeBron had to go take down. There wasn't a Boston Celtics of today. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that LeBron had to take down a team of the caliber of the Boston Celtics and what we see right now. Like I just that's a mountain to climb, and to put that on one man's back, I just see the possibility out the window. And I know you were kind of talking about it when we go into this, but just the bad luck that Milwaukee has had. I see all the tweets that are saying, I think the Bucks might have sold their soul to win that 2021 championship. And possibly, I mean, if KD's toe is not on that line, maybe we're having a different conversation for the rest of it. But KD's toe was on the line. Maybe they sold their soul to go get that one ring.
Yeah, there's a lot of what ifs. And I've got a little bit of chronology.
Yeah, the story.
Yeah,
story.
That's the one.
With the time, yeah.
The last 7 seasons, Giannis's MVP finishes first, fourth, third, fourth, and now he's either gonna be third or fourth. He's been top 5 MVP candidate 7 seasons in a row. In those 7 seasons, 2019 is where I'll start this little expedition. 2019 was the bubble year, 1920. The Bucks were by far the most dominant team in the NBA. We were setting records for offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency and net efficiency. And then the bubble came. It shut everything down. It shut down the hottest team in the league. And then we got upset by, I'm about to cut out again. This is so frustrating. We got upset by a Heat team. 2020, we finally won it. 2021, we won it. 2022, by far the best team in the league. Middleton goes down. When Middleton goes down in Game 6, up 44 and 20 and 9 and doing it. Damn it.
It does appear that we lost Sam again. I don't know if it's an internet connection, but I will say we love the ambiance of the birds that are hopping on the podcast there as well. But kind of the point that Sam was making, you have the best team, you lose out in the bubble, some interesting circumstances there, Giannis injury, you win the championship, and the year after, most dominant team in the league again, you lose Chris for the playoffs. And then as last year, you remember Giannis going down. Like the injury bug has bit this team at the latest part of the season all too often, and it's been extremely frustrating as Milwaukee Bucks fans. And I remember at the beginning of this season, and I was one that was kind of calling out Milwaukee after that 2-8 start, that this is fine as long as they bounce back and these guys find a way to stay healthy throughout the playoffs. And I was saying that the rest for even Damian Lillard going into the All-Star break, that's okay. I remember there was an entire conversation that we had on here when Damian Lillard sat out right before the All-Star break, but he is still going to compete in the All-Star game festivities. And I said it would be okay as long as these guys stay healthy. And deep vein thrombosis, I don't know how much of a preventable thing that is, but I think it's a lot of bad luck. And it just really, really sucks in hindsight, especially when the goal was put on this team, at least my goal being put on this team, was the rest and whatever goes throughout the course of this season, it's okay as long as your guys are healthy at the end of the season. But that bad luck biting once again for Milwaukee, and it's hard for me to think that there is a fighting chance. But you remember on the pod this week, we saw an Air Force kid take down a USA Olympic champion. Like, this is sports. This is the stuff that can happen. And this could be a great storyline. You know, Giannis is number 2 man going down. But Giannis finding a way to fight, and we'll see how far these guys can take this thing. But I think you ended off at around 2022, Sam. I kind of went through where the injuries continued. Giannis, of course, being down last year. The Bucks, with all their bad luck in chronological order, I can let you pick back up in 22-23.
It's just been disappointing, man. Chris Middleton ended up going down against the Celtics, and Giannis still did everything in his power. He had a 40-20 game, and then he had a 25-20 game, and we just didn't do it against the Celtics. And then Giannis hurts his back against the Heat the next year, and then we lose Giannis and Dame, and it feels like Aaron Rodgers' career, where I watched Rodgers' entire career. And I feel like I'm the crazy person when I want to stand here and say he might have been a better quarterback than Tom Brady. But I watched all these little mistakes that just impact a long-term legacy. And I feel like I'm the crazy one when I say Rodgers might be the GOAT. And we're doing the same thing with Giannis right now. We see all these small things adding up. And now we see a Giannis can't get it done in the playoffs. Well, if you look at it, he should have done it then the bubble happened. He did it. He dropped 50 and 17 and to close out Game 6 of the finals. Then he loses Chris and just gets bombarded by Boston. Then he's injured and loses Dame on a team with no depth. And it's just heartbreaking, man. And I'm watching Giannis be the most dominant player in the league. And when you look at legacy at the end of the day, it's going to be heartbreaking if he has the can't do it in the playoffs story to him, because I know him better than that. He is a healthy player. He plays all regular season. It's been dumb, crappy luck.
It has been. And I think when it comes down to even winning a singular championship, and this really puts things in perspective. I like how you bring both Rodgers and Giannis into this. Some of the greatest athletes in their respective sports, and I know it's still young and early in Giannis's career, but the chances are probably higher than they are not that Giannis will go the rest of his career without winning another ring. That's how the numbers show themselves. With Aaron Rodgers, you would have thought with that guy's talent, the team that they had built around him, when they won in 2010, it felt like there was a dynasty brewing. You had a young defense. You had so much talent. You had the best wide receiving court maybe that we have seen ever. A solid offensive line. You went out and drafted your running back 2 years later, and no ring to show for it. Every single championship, and I mean, we've seen 2 big ones here in the state of Wisconsin since you and I started watching sports. That's the Packers in 2010 and the Bucks in 21. And in both of those, there was luck involved. With the Packers against Chicago, if Jay Cutler does not get hurt in that game, I don't think Green Bay goes with a ring. I don't think Green Bay goes to that Super Bowl. It took a B.J. Raji pick 6 for Green Bay to go and win that Super Bowl. What are the statistical chances that B.J. Raji, over the course of his entire career, gets an interception and takes it back for a touchdown? Once out of every single play. What are the chances that happens at the most crucial moment of an NFC Championship game? There's luck involved when it comes to these things. We see greatness on the field. We see greatness on the court. But to go out and win a championship, so many things have to go right. Honestly, what it is you just can't let things go wrong. And at times, especially when it comes to these Bucks, things have just gone wrong and they can fall out of your control. And this is where the conversation of greatness comes in. Like what Patrick Mahomes has been able to do in the first 7 years of his career, I don't know if we'll ever see something like that again. What we saw with Tom Brady, he went to 10 dang Super Bowls, man. Rodgers made it to one. Like there's a thing for greatness, but with greatness, sometimes it takes a little bit of luck. And who knows what it is. That's why we love sports. We'll talk about it again and again because all those times that a team falls down, it just takes that one moment for that team to end up on top, and you're a fan for the rest of your life. We can transition here into the cheese grater coming up at the end of the episode. I already gave my first one before. Sam, if you got your grater questions on you.
Yeah, we got a little greater action in here. Why don't you send me one while I find it?
Yeah, absolutely. You're Pat Murphy. What do you say to Jackson Chourio today? You have an off day, so you know that there's conversations happening, probably a little bit of batting practice out there in New York. 0 for 5, 5 strikeouts, the platinum sombrero, as rare of a feat as it gets, but not one that you want to hang over the head of your career. But Chourio, on his second career opening day start, has that. What do you say to Jackson Chourio?
I mean, you want him to keep swinging, but, I'd love to see him take a walk, this series. Maybe one, just look at 2 pitches for Pete's sake. I don't know. If you're the leader, I want Jackson Chourio to be Jackson Chourio and hit bombs and really reach his potential as a hitter. But if you're part of a team, if you're the leadoff guy, you get on base. That's your job. And if you want to be swinging for the fences, hit 3. Go in the 2, 3, 4 spot. That's fantastic for you. But if you want to be the leader on this team, get on base, go steal second like you can, and put pressure on the other team. And I think that's going to be big for him. But to start the season, juice the kid's confidence. Tell him to keep taking cuts. I would just lock in, really do your research on the pitcher for the next day, his tendencies, and just focus on ball and let the kid grow.
I agree.
Would you be okay with what do you think the get up, get out of here, gone? Do you want that to be the standard for the Brewers home run calls? Do you want that to just be leave it with Bob?
I think you have to leave it with Bob. And as someone who I recently started my play-by-play career a couple of years ago, to find your home run call, that is something that is extremely difficult. So I don't know how Bob Uecker found it, but once you have it, that is yours, and you take it to the grave with you. I think it was incredible what Lane Grindle did on that first home run of the season, but that's something that was your ode to Bob Uecker. Then you leave it where it is, and it dies with greatness. Get up, get out of here, gone. I don't know if anything will ever reach that again. So what Grindle did was great, but it's going to stop there, and everyone's going to just have that be a reminiscent sentence that we'll just hear when we go to sleep at night, and it'll be beautiful.
I love it.
What is the most important Goody goal for the draft for the Green Bay Packers?
Got to be defensive line, man. I think he has a plan. He's going to throw a bunch of darts at the dartboard. I think we're drafting 4 defensive linemen, whether they're edge guys or beefcakes up front. I think he's throwing a lot of darts at the dartboard. He didn't make a big move over free agency there, so I think that's his plan. I think he made a comment about it as well. That he really wants to scout, that he is looking at the defensive line. I don't have the quote in front of me, but I think he's noted that he's there to watch the defensive linemen. And you got to hit on one of them, man. No more of these. No, I think hit on your first round pick has got to be important, just because there's such a long history of Lucas Van Ness, going on. So I think get a D lineman and get a productive player with your first round pick.
I'll bring this one up too, because I haven't seen the conversation on it. I would go get another linebacker. Like, I don't know if that would be like a 3rd or 4th round. What they have in Edgerrin Cooper, that guy might be an all-pro. But I know you re-signed Isaiah McDuffie, where you're trusting the rest of your defense, especially with the fact that Cooper missed a handful of games last year. To have another guy that's young, has that downhill mentality, I think that could help that defense a lot. I really want to see them go get another Edgerrin Cooper clone and see two of those guys running around on the field at the same time. I think things would be scary for opposing offenses. That would be after defensive line. Of course, you got to get after the quarterback. But what I saw from Cooper, that's not something I've seen from a Green Bay linebacker maybe ever.
Hey, let's keep it with the linebackers. I got 2 football trivia questions for you.
All right.
Greatest defense ever. This is stepping away from Wisconsin. Greatest defense ever. How many points did the Ravens allow in 2001, I think it was. Was there big?
I'm going to say, I think I've seen this number. I know it was around 10 per game. As hopefully we get Sam back here quickly to give us the answer to this question. Oh, there he is. So I'm going to say it's around 10 a game, maybe a little bit over. I think they averaged giving up, I'd say 12 points a game in a 16-game season. So I'd say 190 about.
I think it's 165, 10.3 a game.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, I don't know if you're ever seeing that again. I would bet a good chunk of money that you will never, ever see a defense only give up 10 points a game ever again. That's crazy. Wow.
I stumbled across that stat. Just wanted to mention it somehow because that's absolute nonsense.
Yeah, that's barnacles, man. That's crazy. All right, you got one more cheese grater on you.
I got one more. I got a little Packers trivia for you. This Packer had a career high. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, cool. You just can't see me. This Packer had a career high and led the team and finished 3rd in the NFL in receiving yards in 2004. He had 1,382 receiving yards in 2004. Who the heck is it?
That would be he popped up on a cheese grater earlier this week, right? Is that Donald Driver the man?
You think I would hand you an easy one like that? Get in your bag, Cody.
Oh, 2004. That would have been Amon Green days. Oh, 2004. This one's I might have to wave a white flag.
Almost 1,400 receiving yards, 3rd in the league.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this. He had a very promising start to his career. I believe this is his 3rd or 4th year in the league. The year prior, he had about 800 receiving yards. Then he really blew up, and then he got injured, and he wasn't the same.
Yeah. I'm gonna feel silly when I don't. Brooks. It wasn't Brooks.
In 2004,
I know.
Javon Walker was the man.
Yeah, he was for a season. But, yeah, that's good. I mean, my Javon Walker history, I'm gonna have to buff up a little bit extra, I guess. Because I should not be missing anybody with over 1,300 receiving yards in a season, but. I give it to you there. You stumped me with the cheese grater. Javon Walker, is he a first-round pick?
I'm not 100% sure. Judging by his production, probably not.
Probably not. Yeah, that would be the Green Bay history of first-round picks. Hey, we talked about that Packers Super Bowl. They hit on 2 first-rounders in 2009. Now, B.J. Raji and Clay Matthews. Once you get back to that standard in drafting where you hit on your first-round picks, that's how you get those rings. So it's all on you, Goody. That's your goal. Hit on pick number 1, and we'll see where it goes. This has been another edition of A Little Bit of Cheese. I'm Cody Depius. That is Sam Douglas. We'll see you back on Monday for hopefully a couple of Brewers wins on A Little Bit of Cheese, your bite-sized Wisconsin sports podcast.